Today is a very special day, and you probably didn't even realize it because most of you are staring out your window going, the zombies are coming, the zombies are coming. But look, it is the build up to WrestleMania. We are in the week of WrestleMania, and yet on Thursday, we get to talk about a whole other show or a whole other promotion because 12 months ago, All Elite Wrestling didn't exist and they were born, came out of their mother's womb, and now we have it. I think it's great, even though there's a lot of other things going on. But I wanted to start with some cheer. My name is Simon Miller. You are watching Ups and Downs, the show where we go through wrestling TV shows and we give the good bits up and we give the bad bits a down. And we do it using this, the finger of power, the most powerful thing in all of mankind. It terrifies me that it's attached to my own arm. Let's up those downs to the most recent episode of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. I love a wrestling tournament, I just do. I don't believe we get enough of them over here in the West, but AEW is changing that because we are about to get said tournament for a brand new title known as the TNT Championship. We're going to see Cody Rhodes in there, we're going to see Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Colt Cabana, Tripp Sabian, Dustin Rhodes, and probably somebody else I've forgotten. I meant to count them out with my fingers, but I didn't do it. It kicks off next week with the finals, hopefully being at Double or Nothing if that pay-per-view does go ahead, and I am more than fine with this because when you have a belt, you can defend on your normal television shows. Not only does it get people excited, but it also makes your World Championship feel even more important because you only see that defended on a pay-per-view. All you got to do is make sure that somebody major wins it. And straight away, we the fans will go, oh, well, this title means everything. And also, I don't care that it's called the TNT Championship. That's all I got on my Twitter feed this week was, TNT. I mean, one, you can kind of spin it and go, TNT, the show's called Dynamite. That just makes sense. But two, if calling it after the TV channel is the one, I don't know, sacrifice, not even the right word, but the one sacrifice we had to make in order for TNT to get behind AEW as much as they have, well, it's all right by me. Look at my thumbs there. Stick it up in the air. That's cool. A thumbs up. I mean, call it the llama title for all I care. Call it the llama title and have a llama win it. As long as you push that llama hard and I can sit there and go, wow, that llama, he's kicking everybody's ass. I couldn't give two hoots. As for this week's show, we were in a brand new location because of all the madness going on outside, and because of that, we had the wrestlers back at ringside again, and they made enough noise that we had somewhat of an atmosphere, even though it did look a little bit like AEW had become a small indie promotion having an event in a bar. That's not their fault. We also started with Kenny Omega versus Trent. Is getting it up. Cody was on commentary alongside Tony Schiavone, and this match had a really cool story. Because at first, Trent was being a smart old tamale, and he was out wrestling Kenny Omega, so Kenny was a bit like, well, that's not something I'm used to. Fine, I'll change things up, and I'll start to brawl. And then Trent was like, wait a minute, I'm usually a guy that brawls, so I'm going to brawl back, and that's where we got to. Then everything went nuts, and people were diving over the top rope, and the only scary moment was like this top rope suplex where Kenny Omega landed right on his head, right on his skull, and I was like, oh no, we just killed the cleaner. And the irony, if you know what the cleaner means, you know what I'm talking about. It didn't affect Omega though, because he popped back up as if he was doing his once daily exercise, hit Trent with the V-trigger, hit him with the one-winged angel, and he got the 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna pump myself back up because I fell back down. Honestly, just a really good, really fun television match, and it made me feel all warm and cozy inside. It's like, oh yeah, Dynamite, they have good matches all the time. Let's just settle in for 120 minutes of excellence. Had a couple of videos reminding you of everything that had happened between Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy. Then we had another one saying how great Shida was, and she must have been watching and went, oh yeah, I am great, because she came out to have a match. She can have it up. She was taking on Nia Jay, who was making her AEW debut here, and very smartly, we let her get a lot of offense in. She seemed competitive, therefore if she does have more matches, we can go, oh, well, she does have something to her. Obviously, she didn't win, because she was never going to win, and eventually she got Falcon Dare, and Shida got the 1, 2, 3, which means she's still number one in the rankings. As Cody said, oh, she doesn't want to be the bridesmaid forever. She needs to go after that championship soon. Maybe that was a little bit on the nose, Cody Rhodes. Maybe Shida has tried to get married before. You need to watch what you say. Shida and Britt Baker, who was at ringside, then yelled at each other. And I was like, oh yeah, why haven't we had any sassy Britt Baker promos recently? They were one of the best things about Dynamite, and you can absolutely do them now. In fact, you could have a whole show of them, and I'd be all right with that. So just a little request there, All Elite Wrestling, if we could give Britt Baker a microphone, and of course, get Tony Schiavone there. I want more coffee jives That would be great. We then had another video, and I think this is exactly what I needed, because we were promoting the championship match between Jon Moxley and Jake Hager, and because it treated it like it was the most important thing in the world, when it was done, I said to myself, oh, I made a terrible mistake. I didn't realize it was the most powerful thing in the world, and now I'm super hyped for that match. Never forget the power of a good package. What? It's going to go down on Dynamite on the 15th of April, and it's going to be a no-holds-barred empty arena match. Don't think we needed to focus on the fact that it will be an empty arena. That's just wrestling now. That has become the norm, to the point we can never have an empty arena match when fans are allowed back into buildings. That stipulation is dead. That stipulation has to be killed. I'd rather you brought back, I don't know, on a pole matches. Someone give Vince Russo a call. He loves them. And then follow that up by saying, Duty Bagwell, we need you. Colt Cabana then took Cody's place on commentary because he had to go get ready for his match. And we had another video package featuring Jake Roberts. And much like the brilliant promos that we'd seen on Raw, I was a bit like, man, they've really ramped these up. We are getting a lot of them, although I understand why. Also, it was Jake Roberts. Someone stuck a camera in his face and said, Jake, just talk. And therefore, he smashed it out of the park. He began by questioning whether Cody was actually smarter than he realized because he was staying away from Lance Archer, knowing that Lance would whoop his ass, or maybe he was ordered to by his wife Brandi, because we know who wears the pants in that relationship. And what is the deal with wrestling at the moment? You've got AJ Styles throwing jibes and barbs at the Undertaker's and Michelle McCool, and now Jake Roberts is doing it with Cody and Brandi Rhodes. I don't care who's in control of a relationship as long as they're happy, and as long as when they go home to see each other, they give each other a little kiss. Who cares? I don't find that to be a threat, and I don't find it to be an insult. But as I have said before, Jake Roberts is so good at these. He could be given a microphone and sing Let It Go from Frozen, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I am petrified of Jake Roberts. He'd be like, let it go. Let it go. Ugh. This then led into Lance Archer debuting for AEW, and he was taking on Marko Stunt. Now, I don't know who came up with this idea, but it was like King Kong had just entered the building and he was looking for someone to eat for lunch. And actually, when I thought about it, I was like, this is a great way to use Marko Stunt, because it made Lance Archer look about 9'7" tall. Like if I had gone on Google and Googled his height and someone said he is 42 feet high, I'd have been like, yeah, he's as big as a building. Lance absolutely ruined him too. I mean, Marko tried to get some offense in here, but it was the equivalent of throwing an egg at an army. Just like hit them and found the floor. They're like, what are you going to do with an egg? We've got guns. He also did this suplex where he released Stunt halfway in the air, and Marko just flew off into the sky as if he was about to land on the moon. So if you have woken up today and gone, I'd really like to see a massive guy destroy a smaller guy, then AEW is the promotion for you. And Archer had the match won after a chokeslam, but he said, nah, I'm not doing that. And he picked Marko up and gave him the blackout, which also looked like it had murdered the frizzy-haired guy. This was absolute carnage, and has said to the audience, you don't want to flub with one Lance Archer. Give it up. He also just chucked Marko Stunt into the crowd when all was said and done, and I was not ready for this. It was Brodie Lee time next, and my word, is this dividing people. I mean, that was the other big debate over the last week. You either love him pretending to be Vince McMahon, or you do not. But much as I said 7 days ago, the reason I do get a kick out of it is because A, I get the references and it makes me chuckle, but B, when you take on the traits of this personality and you're the leader of a massive cult and you come across like a loon, well, that ticks loads of boxes. He's getting it up. He was hosting a meeting this week, and boy howdy was he mad. I mean, firstly, someone didn't know how to address him properly. He wanted to be called Mr. Brodie, and he was not. And when another minion yawned, Lee sat down with him and was like, what's going on, man? What are you tired for? What's going on? The whole world is shut down and you can't even get enough sleep? It's weakness, my friend. And he chucked him out of room. And for those that don't know too, for those that aren't up on this, these all come from genuine stories that people have said about one Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So I just want you to sit for that for a while. Think about it. If this all leads to the Dark Order running roughshod through AEW and maybe even Brodie Lee eventually getting a world title run, I think he's got it in him. I am happy to sit down and allow it to play out. Also, it's early days. Maybe this is just a joke for a couple of weeks and we'll leave it here and we'll evolve into something else. And I think it was all justified afterwards too, because QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes were having a tag team match against 8 and 9, who were just random geeks from the Dark Order. Now, I will say, that was a little bit lame. I was like, I want the Dark Order to be like this threatening power, and here you've got two dudes that aren't even 1 and 2. They're 8 and 9 in the order, so I guess that's got to get it down. Anyway, they were absolutely wrecked by Dustin and QT Marshall, who hit them with a tandem flapjack, and I couldn't even tell you which one got pinned. It may have been 8, it may have been 9, hell, it may have been 52,721 for all I know. There was no way to figure it out. Afterwards though, who came out enraged? That's right, it was the real Vince McMahon. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell is happening? And he got in the ring and grabbed the microphone and went, Brodie Lee, pal, come out here right now. At that moment I woke up and realized I'd fallen asleep and my mind had lied to me and it was all a dream. Obviously it was just Brodie Lee. He walked down the aisle, he gave one of them a powerbomb and he looked at the other like, don't you ever betray or let me down again. And I like this, you see, he's in control, he's no longer the follower, he's the leader. I'm really excited about Brodie Lee. We then had another skit that is going to please as many people as it pisses off, but I would just remind you of this. When wrestling goes after nonsense, and when wrestling gets that nonsense right, nothing in this entire world makes me happier. It's getting it up. It was Chris Jericho in his mansion and he was just yelling at the world like he was an angry old man. He even called Kenny Omega, this is his words, not mine, a pumpkin dipshit, and I don't even know what that means. He also ran down all the other members of the Elite and he was absolutely on fire. It wasn't over there either because eventually Vanguard 1 showed up, or Vanguard 2, whatever the hell we're calling it, and Chris Jericho tried to apologize to the Machine, but he wasn't able to do it. If you're a Red Dwarf fan, it was a bit like when Crichton tries to tell a fib. But he's like, look, I'm sorry about what I said. I shouldn't have done it. I made a mistake. Here, look, I've got you an Inner Circle shirt. I'm going to attach it to you, and you and I, we can go and take over the world of wrestling. When Matt Hardy's friend just zoomed off, though, not only did Le Champion call for the hounds, meaning a bunch of dogs just ran from his house, but he was also yelling at this thing as if it had stolen his wallet. If you'd never watched wrestling before, and this was the first thing you'd seen, you'd have no idea what was going on. But I was laughing my ass off, almost literally, my ass just like took itself off my body and legged it out the door because it couldn't handle what it was seeing. And mostly this is because you can just tell Jericho is having the time of his life here, which means I'm having a damn good time as well. I mean, just think about this, a proper bona fide wrestling legend yelling at a robot that belongs to a man who thinks he's 3,000 years old. I mean, I get people not being into it, I get it, I understand the criticism, but I cannot heap any more praise on it if I tried. It cheers me up, and right now I can do with a good old laugh. On that note, we had a Young Bucks video next that showed Matt and Nick Jackson in a ring getting training for their big wrestling return. But all that aside, their main message here was we should all be as happy as we can be, we should all be as positive as we can be, we only have one life, let's go out there and live it. It was just a brilliant message to throw out there, especially in troubled times. Round of applause for the Young Bucks. This was really, really nice. It was our main event next, and my word, I think Cody Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Shawn Spears just forgot that they didn't have any fans in the audience. They went all out, and they went and got it up. They just kicked each other's ass, including at one point, Darby Allin climbing up some kind of pole. He must have been, I don't know, 20, 25 feet in the air. I'm probably exaggerating, but that's what we do in wrestling. And he coffin dropped off the top of that pole. I mean, luckily, Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara were at the bottom to catch him. But, I mean, last week I was saying how, oh, Darby Allin's really smart. He's not doing the coffin drop. Doesn't need to do it because he's not going to get a pop. And here, he was doing the most nuts coffin drop I've ever seen in my entire life. That dude is just, he on another planet. It was incredible. We also had shenanigans too, because at one point when Shawn and Sammy were in control, they were betting each other who could hold Darby up for the longest in a stalling suplex as they were doing the stalling suplex. I'm not 100% sure who won, but Shawn Spears kind of gave it up anyway because he got to 10 and then he slammed him because, you know, he's the perfect 10. And it ended with a little bit of confusion too, because at one point Shawn Spears was going to smash Cody Rhodes in the head with a chair, and Darby Allin got in there like, no, you're not doing that, and he took it away. But then Sammy Guevara was there, he took the chair, and that meant Darby was in, oh no, I'm too distracted by everything is going on mode, which allowed Shawn to creep up and hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and he got the 1, 2, 3. And no, before you say it, there is no roll-up counter here, and I get the quite surprise towards AEW, but that's not the point. AEW hardly ever does surprise roll-ups, and WWE does them more than I eat chickens in a day. You can't compare the two like that. It wouldn't be fair. Now, of course, if we get to next week and we see another devastating move in all of sports entertainment, I shall bring it down, but they get a free pass. Also, this main event was just very, very good. And we weren't done there either because we had an unexpected twist at the end. Cody was all like, oh, I don't know what's happened, it's unbelievable. But Darby Allin was so pissed off, he was so frustrated, when Cody did get back to his feet, he twonked him right in the face. And I thought this was quite clever, because if that TNT title tournament thingamabob does go the way I think it's going to, at one point we're going to get Cody versus Darby Allin, and now you just planted some sorry seeds. And as you know, if you're a long time watcher of Ups and Downs, boy howdy do I like seeds. I shouldn't have done that gesture while saying seeds. So it was another very easy to watch and very digestible episode of AEW Dynamite, and there wasn't that much wrong with it, depending what you think about gubbins. You know, Chris Jericho and Brodie Lee and the Vanguard won. Some people don't like that stuff, but that's okay. You don't have to. Thankfully, this bald asshole thinks it's absolutely wonderful. So overall, it is gonna get an up, and I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in the wrestling world next week, because everybody is shutting their doors and saying nobody's allowed to leave their house. So how the hell are we gonna get shows? But we'll find out. We are living in troubling times. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. No, I'm not biased towards All Elite Wrestling, and no surprise, surprise, I'm not biased towards WWE either. I just call it like I see it. If you can't deal with it, you can come and kiss my bald head. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here. Breathe on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and if you are a watcher of all the ups and downs, I'll see you this weekend. Saturday we'll up those downs for SmackDown. Sunday we'll do WrestleMania Night 1. And Monday we'll do WrestleMania Night 2. And then I need to go to bed and sleep because I'm going to be exhausted. However, also quite excited. I have no idea what to expect. Canehead, see you soon.